Hey there, everybody. I think it's Monday. I think it's August 1st. It's 4:06 p.m. on the East Coast, but it's only 1:06 p.m. where I am on the West Coast. And I'm planning, oh God, boy, this could be interesting. I'm planning on rollerblading down a mountain that might kill me later today. So hopefully I won't die. I'll do a video. And if I do post a video later tonight, then I probably survived. I did get new wheels. This should be a lot of fun. It's a very scenic road I want to go over. I'm not trying to die. However, I did actually almost die on the same mountain a year ago on a bike and came within inches of having a head-on collision with a vehicle. I'm not going to do that this year. We're going to talk about baseball though in this video. Forget about that. There will be a rollerblade video today, later today, coming from a place called Top of the World. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, until then, there's baseball. I took a few minutes here and updated baseball because uh, you know, um, some people care about it. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but honestly, I don't care at all about baseball. I didn't do it yesterday because I was unbelievably busy and couldn't have done it anyway. Today, it's even more difficult to do it because I'm staying, with friends and family and every stuff. And one of the kids like took my wireless keyboard and put it on scroll lock and locked it and hid my keyboard by accident or something. So I'm working off a mouse, and the laptop I have has no scroll lock key apparently on it that I can find. Only the wireless keyboard did, which I can't get a hold of. So we're stuck in scroll lock. Like, actually, it works better in Google Sheets. It doesn't work in Excel. If I try to go up and down, look at this. It doesn't, there's no cursor anymore. It's just the whole screen has to move. Annoying. Anyway, so doing the video is a little annoying, and I'm not betting because I'm in California where there's no FanDuel is not legal in California or whatever. It doesn't operate. And so I have zero reason to do this except for people who care. And also for just the dignity of the file, which is the algorithm's the best in the world. How can you not do it every day? For example, I don't know how it did yesterday. Did anybody run it yesterday? People that have the file? I'm sure somebody did. Did it do well? Because I know that it did well for the professor. I think the professor had like a 75% winning day. It looked like some of the, I don't know. I didn't run it. But it might have done awesome. So if you ran it, let me know how you did in the comments of this video. As for today, what we've got here is we've got some confirmed lineups. This is the update I'm making. This is the Google Sheet for August. You can subscribe to it if you want. It's expensive. It's $94 for the month because it's just for people who really want specific betting data and who are really interested in, really digging into this. Not even me, because I'm not even using it. I'm not even doing anything with it. It's for those people, and it requires a lot of effort that I get this correct and actually research it and do roster changes. For example, today Aaron Sanchez got traded apparently from Washington, or contract got moved to Minnesota. So all of a sudden we have to adjust stats, and here this thing doesn't work, right? There's things you have to do every single day, basically. So it's expensive subscription, but people I can kind of judge who wants it and who doesn't want it because I don't have time to do baseball every day, honestly. As much as I would like to make this better and work on all the distributions here and stuff like this, what these distributions are. I did stop in Salt Lake City and ironically run into a friend of mine who's not from Salt Lake City, but was vacationing. And he is the guy who can help program a macro to test all different percentages up here for the algorithm and get optimal percentages every day for results. It's an extensive programming add-on macro. It's a little complicated, and then we have to do analysis after we run it. So it's a lot of effort. Of course, I don't want to do it, but it would make this thing better. And if you're betting money, I mean, it's a joke how much money you could make and how much you should pay me to do that if you're really betting big money. It's actually comical because I understand what kind of money people bet and I know how much this thing wins. And I'm like, yeah, if I threw like a few hundred grand down every single day, I'd be up like 10 million bucks in like a month if I did this on straight lines. And I'm like, I bet some people might do that. I'm like, oh yeah, sports books won't take those kind of bets because they'll understand what you're doing. And eventually they'll max you out, which is what they do on FanDuel for people like the odds jam folks. So point is, paying for that application or doing that would make you rich. because you would always know what the best distribution is, and it's artificial intelligence that would get you there. It just takes work, and for some reason, I don't care. I got other stuff to do. So for those of you who wonder why I just stopped doing this and stopped doing videos and don't care, it's because nobody has forked over a ton of money for me to do this, and I'm not going to invest in it because I got a whole bunch of other stuff to do, including genome analysis, which is much more interesting. But I understand there's a lot of people that depend on me for sports because, all right, whatever. I will shut up. Point is this is what it looks like today. If you stuck around for all this, there's 3 games over MXP factor 20. The algorithm says play games over MXP factor 20 because they win. You'd have a bad line for the Mets. You got a decent line for the Dodgers, and you've got like yucky line for Houston, but at least they're at home. So it also says that the Dodgers don't score a ton of runs, but win this game. So when you break down everything here, I haven't looked over any of this because I don't care. Sorry, I'm forcing it down your throat. Not a single person has paid me. Not a single person has paid me for days for baseball. One of the reasons I didn't do yesterday, yet I still do it because I know many of you care. So it is here, and I'm going to go roll away down a mountain, and hopefully I'll survive and have a better video to watch later. All right, guys. If you do one thing, enjoy the algorithm for what it is and do whatever you feel like doing. Oh yeah, I will say one thing, which is what I had been doing. I actually drove from Utah to Southern California, and I went through Vegas where it was flooded a little bit, got some pictures, went through the desert, and there's a little stretch between Utah and Nevada where it's Arizona for like 17 miles, right? In just totally remote place where there's like not even a city. It's just this weird edge of Arizona. And FanDuel operates in Arizona. And while I drove down, I did stop in Arizona and I bet the $108 I had in my account on a bunch of same game parlays for the day. And most of them lost. Really, really close games too. It's kind of funny. So I lost almost all my money. But that was the extent of the betting I did that I'll do for a long time. And same game parlay round robins and stuff are super fun, because you can bet, like I was betting like $50 to win 13 or $19,000 if I got like 7 picks. And if you got a portion of those 7 correct, you'd still win some money. Like if you went 4 and 3 out of your 7 picks, the lines are so good that you can still make money even getting half your picks right. I didn't even do that. But the day before I did. And so betting huge, crazy things with odds in the same game parlay one is like saying, oh, they'll offer you something like in this Miami Cincinnati game, the same game parlay options will be like, well, is Miami going to win and the over under is going to be over 7.5? That's what the algorithm says here. Algorithm says Miami wins this game, not with a huge margin, but they win, and they win 6-4, which is much more than 7.5 runs. So assuming all the formulas are working properly in there, which I think they are, you would take Miami and the over 7.5. That's offered. And that would be offered at like almost plus 200 or something, probably. Um, Maybe even a little better, or around plus 200. But there's like 4 options. There's Miami under 7.5. There's Cincinnati over 7.5. There's Cincinnati under 7.5. And then there's also run lines, which is Miami minus 1.5 and over 7.5, which would be an even better line of like plus 280 or something because they have to win by 2 runs. Now, algorithm says that the minus 1.5 and over 7.5 also wins because it says the score is 6-4. Now, you can see that the Mets being the number 1 pick here and really crushing is because Corbin is just awful. And he has a big contract and has been talked about, and things just are not going right. And it's very difficult for Corbin. And then you've got Scherzer going up against his old team. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah. So it seems like the Mets are going to want to run over this, right? He's going to want to win because he's crazy. And the Mets are playing well and have some offense, and Corbin is struggling. I mean, for Corbin to flip this game around, you're making me interested in baseball looking at this game, actually. This game I would watch because there's a lot of drama here. I've been talking trash about Corbin because his ERA has been always up here with a lot of innings pitched. And I understand he won, pitched well in the past and won a championship. And so you got that weird situation there, but he's not been pitching well empirically, as you can see, and getting hit for set on average of 6.5 runs a game. not a game, but his ERA, whatever. His ERA is every 9 innings, almost 6.5 runs. Well, it makes sense to have to bet the Mets cover, and the over under is 8.5. That's tough because does Washington hit Scherzer at all? Algorithm says no. And so then you get very close to the over under is very tough. It's almost better to take the Mets minus a couple, 2 or 3 runs, because the algorithm is just, if you trust the algorithm knows what it's doing, it's the Mets are supposed to crush this game. And the MXP factor of that game is the highest on here at 72. So the algorithm in that sense, I think, is really easy to read for people who complain about how difficult this file is to read. I mean, what is it saying? It's saying play these top 3 teams because their MXP factors are above 20. What does that look like in the Google sheet? Looks like this. It looks like same thing. Mets, Dodgers, Houston, Cleveland, and San Diego closer. But you see, it says San Diego's line is not worth it all the way down here at MXP factor of only 10. That minus 200, according to the odds makers, is supposed to be the second biggest favorite. And we're saying don't do it. Saying don't do it. MXP factors below 20, which are all these games: Cleveland, San Diego, Texas, Miami, the White Sox, Seattle, and Detroit. These are all toss-up games, the algorithm says. And what you do with toss-up games is a debate, but I'll start the debate of saying, well, if the algorithm says these are all toss-up games, then if you bet all these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, you're probably going to go 4-3 on average, or 3-4, right? And you don't know which ones are going to win or lose because they're all toss-up games because they're all in that range. These 3 are not toss-up games. I would expect to win at least 2 out of these 3 games up top, and probably all 3. Probably meaning more than 1 out of every 2 days on average. I think all 3 of these games win with MXP factors over 20. And on your normal, I mean, I'll say like 55-60% of the time that'll happen or something, but you will generally not see a 1 and 2 day up here. That's another thing I'm saying. And 0 and 3 happens once a month or something. It did happen a week ago. We had 0 and 4 up top. Very, very rare. But you can expect usually 2 and 1 and hopefully 3 and 0. And if you might lose one of these games, you can dig in to say, well, why might I lose one of these games and why am I saying that? Well, the Mets game you're not supposed to lose because it's the highest. So it would really be the Houston game that you might lose because that's the lowest one on average there. So why is that? Well, let's take a look and see if they might lose. In that sense, Luis Garcia is pitching quite well. Nathan Eovaldi is not a bad pitcher. You could get outpitched by Nathan Eovaldi here at 4-3 and a 4 ERA. This game is in Houston, though, and Houston's lineup factor is good, and a lot of things are good from Houston. So it would just have to be an abnormally really good day for Nathan Eovaldi's pitching, which would probably lower Houston's runs, right? So I think the only way you lose this Houston game is with a Boston winning this game and an under 8 runs. Wow, that's kind of low, but yeah, that's probably how it would happen. Is Boston wins like 3-1. You see here they get to 3, but then Houston doesn't get their runs up. That could happen, but Houston's playing pretty darn well. Actually, the Boston's not. So I actually feel like this is probably a 3-0 day. What about the Dodger game? Just to make sure, just so we check, because we're going on way too long. But that's what you're getting out of me, is you're getting a full video for the month of August, because I want to show you the capabilities of things here, because even though I don't take advantage of them, I still feel the need to share knowledge is just what I do. So why is this game 4 to negative 0.3? That's already an issue. Why, when Logan Webb is really good, why are the Dodgers still crushing this? This is scary. All right, so this is the game that you might lose, actually, because something's weird here. First of all, there's only 19 innings for Andrew Heaney, and they're excellent. Okay, so he's been pitching out of his mind, but he's only pitched for 19 innings. Logan Webb is pitching great over 130 innings. So how on earth, with San Francisco at home, can you favor the Dodgers all that much? And what the algorithm has done here is the algorithm has been a bit confused by what it thinks are long-term season pitching stats, but really are a bit odd for Andrew Heaney. Now, let's try to change Andrew Heaney in the Excel file to see what happens if he has last year's stats so that we can get another look at what this might be. So here, let's see if he pitched in, oh God, am I on num lock too? Every freaking lock imaginable. 2021. All right. Here, 94 innings last year and an ERA that is so different. What does that do to this game? It makes it a 3.8 to 3.2 game, and it changes MXP factors. What does it do? It moves the Dodgers down here and gives them barely a 23 MXP factor. So I kind of like that better because I don't like how ridiculous Heaney's stats were this season. But what you do know is that they have been really great this season. So you should have confidence in this 23 actually a little more, still being over 20, that the Dodgers still win this game. And that is a great example of how going in depth and reviewing every single line of this, like, do we want to mess with Domingo Germán here? He's got a ridiculous ERA this year. He pitched last year and pitched better. That moves this around a little bit, but this year he has been really bad. Don't you want to use this year? When this year is really bad, the 2022, it makes me want to use this year more. I don't know. I feel like you want to go with what's been going on. Here you got a brand new start from Minnesota for Sanchez. All right, I'm stopping. Too long of a video, but that's what you all wanted. Anybody that asked, we'll see how many views the video gets. With your toss-up games, you can consider making straight bets on these underdog lines because they're toss-up games, so they're supposed to win about 50% of the time. And that means that if you get a line better than 100 overall, you win in the long run because you win 50% of those games or more and you make money, especially Seattle, right? But because who's Germán's going, right, for the Yankees? Yeah, see, he's pitching terrible. So Seattle could potentially score some runs in this game. What happens if we do 2021? It flips it and it gives the Yankees the win. But look at their minus 189. Even here, it's still Seattle plus 1.5. So Seattle plus 1.5 is the play, which is probably a very, very reasonable, like minus 110 or something, or minus 120 at the worst. That's a very, very strong bet according to the algorithm because it thinks Seattle upsets and wins. And even if they don't and Germán pitches great, Seattle still supposedly gets up like 4 runs and only loses by 1. So, okay, geez, have I talked enough? I think I have. Good luck, everybody. May all your picks be winning. If you want access to the Google Sheet to see whenever I post this up and see what this is, because I'm definitely not doing a video every day. I mean, I'm not going to survive every one of these rollerblade trips down a mountain. So you got to get it while it's hot. All right. Good luck, everybody. May all your picks be winning.